Hi, sir.
So it's working.
Sir, how are you doing, sir? We're fine here.
Yourself?
Sir, my name's Steve. Thank you, sir.
Okay.
So, it's been a real privilege, actually. So, we were waiting for you, and thank you for joining us. We didn't expect you to join, actually, when we started this. Yeah,
Else to
sir.
do at this time of the corona, so everything for football I will support.
Thank you, sir. And how's quarantine been going? Quarantine. How's it going?
Hanging in there like everyone else in the world, I guess. It's a difficult time, to be honest, to stay all the time inside. But we'll have to do with it, and hopefully they start realizing that we should open up. People cannot be caged. We have to go out and learn how to live with this.
Yes, sir. We will manage, sir. We will manage.
Right? This is a test, right?
Well,
Now, right?
yeah, okay. Let's start, sir. Can we start?
This was only a test. All right, let's go. No problem.
Okay, sir. Injuries were the major concern for Blasters last season, right? Like we had a lot of injuries. So what's the real cause of that?
The real cause, there are two main factors. The first factor is that the preseason was not good.
Yeah.
That means we went to Dubai and then had to come back. And if you cannot organize a proper preseason, you will suffer from it for the rest. Somehow I tried to work around that and try to deal with it, and we did that okay, but still it's very difficult as a preseason. The other part is something that I discussed with the club. I don't think it's something that I don't I don't speak it.
So I think you're losing connection, sir. Yeah, yeah. Now you're back online. Yes, sir.
And second thing is something that I discussed with the club, and it is not something that I go into detail in, but it's basically when you are sick, where do you go? You go to the doctor, and the doctor has to provide a program, has to provide a list of medicines that you need to take. In football, it's the same. If you get injured, there's a group of people who have to take care of those injuries, and that is something that in that area that was not very good, not well done.
Oh,
That's
sir.
to say on it. I will not go
So
into to more details.
okay, sir. So second question. In the first time of ISL history, Kerala Blasters played a structural football. How much satisfied you are?
To implement a playing style in a very short period of time is very difficult. So if I look at the playing style of Kerala Blasters in the last 2-3 years, it was basically more on an English model, uh, looking more for long ball strategy, and I don't mean anything negative by that, but to change it to a more structural ball possession based game, that takes time. I think we implemented that because you can see in many games where we dominated. But the question then, what people who don't understand football too much, they will say, okay, but why then you didn't win too many games? Yeah, if you have a Ferrari car or you have a very good car, but it's missing certain components of the car, you can still not go to the full speed. And that has to do with the injuries we had. Many games we only played with three foreigners. And as yeah, I said it so many times, 17 games in a row we had a different lineup. So you don't need to be that smart to understand. That's why we had 7 draws, I think, 7 games. You can still hear me?
Yes, sir. I can. I can.
games where we drew the game. So and that is also a result. Imagine that from those 7 games where we many games played with 3 foreigners, sometimes even 2 foreigners. If you would win one of those few games, yeah, that would already sketch a complete different picture. But overall, I think we implemented a good style. We scored the most goals ever in Kerala's history. We played with probably the youngest team in the ISL, the average age. So yes, I think I'm proud of what I established, and I'm unhappy that I couldn't finish it.
So, okay, sir. Like we are gonna talk about player Holisaran Ansari. Holisaran Ansari. Like he was a very weak link pre-season. Before the season you came, he was very weak. After you came, you did some magic to him. Like he became a really strong player. Like he improved his game very much. What did you do to him, sir?
Specifically what you do to a player, but I had the same with Northeast, for instance, the year before. Borges, who many people criticized. They said, "Oh, he's a good player." Same like Nasri, he's also a very good player, but was dropping, was not showing his qualities. And I gave Borges a little bit of a different role at Northeast, and he did really well. For that, he got a transfer to Mumbai, and suddenly he's on top of the world again. With Nasri, he started the season really good, as in the training. Then he got injured. He also had his wedding. He had to leave for pre-season 2 weeks, I think, because he got married. But he also had an injury in the year before that, a long injury he had. And it's the same thing with Saityan Sen, who didn't play for a whole year. So those players, they need time again to start up, to try to get them back into a rhythm. So we worked a lot on that part, and I'm happy that at least Nasri also developed to a positive level and get back on track on his career, hopefully.
Yes, sir. He really improved actually. Like even all of his haters turned his lovers actually. He really improved his game. We can see that clearly. And sir, one of the most spoken about players right now in India, Sahal Abdul Samad. He's rising to be a sensation. What do you have to say about him? What is your advice for him?
To be very critical on himself, and what I mean by that is he was the last games he was working really hard. I give him nothing but praise for that, and I think he has the right qualities, the right talent to become a big player. But just having qualities is not enough, and I don't want to bring down Summit. I don't want to say that he's not doing his best or something. But he played last season so the season before this and the last season now, plus the national team, he played 47 games, 47 games or something. And in those 47 games, he scored 1 goal and 1 assist. But people focus too much on when he makes a dribble and outplays a player, and then, oh, he's the best player. Yeah, he is a really good player, but in football, it's also about being effective. And then people will say, yeah, but you should give him more chances. Yeah, you will get chances if you do well in training. That is one. Also, many people forget that he missed a big part of the preseason. He was with the national team away. So to get used to the playing style, it takes a lot of time. So he missed a big part of the preseason. So these things are all things that made it not so easy for him. But rest assured, and I can back that up with many other talented players that I work with, is that I had a full belief in him. I tried my real best to get him to a higher level, but to really get into a higher level, there are still things that he needs to learn, and I wish I had more time to do so. And people who just say, yeah, but you should give more playing time, that is all nonsense. That has nothing to do with it. Because if you put him in, you also have to take somebody out. And we had, for instance, I had to play with Bart Ogbeche and Messi up front because of our injuries, play with 2 strikers. That means Sahal has to play from the midfield. And then I had to take somebody out. I had to maybe take out Sergio, or I had to take out Mustafa or whatever. So it's not that easy. But trust me, I would do anything I can to make him a better player.
Yes, sir. We can't intentionally put out someone so that some other player develop, right?
We say that you don't give him chances. Um, if I 47 games, so national team, Kerala, season before that, last season Kerala. He played almost all games, by the way. He got almost chances in almost any game we played. But if that low, that means something is missing. And that is something that needs time for him to develop. And then, yeah, people will
Mm.
say that I'm the bad coach. That is fine. I can live with that. I can back it up with other players that showed if you give it time that they got to a good level. So it's fine. It's okay. I really from my heart only wish him the best. And that same, I just saw some messages here. It's the same with Samuel. Samuel is the same. I really think he is a fantastic player, but there are things still they need time. They need to grow.
Yes, sir. So the next one, like last two seasons you were with ISL. What do you have to say about the tournament and its structures, etc.?
I think ISL is a good platform for Indian players, but you can see in the last years that the budget of almost all teams is going backwards. So that means they invested a lot of money and now it's going backwards. And from sometimes that's a good thing maybe. And I see better foreigners coming, not very high profile players who are old, but maybe a little bit younger players who are lacking a little bit of quality in the European league, but are better than the Indian players. So overall, I think there's progress, but still a lot of work to do, I think.
Mm. Yes, sir. Kerala Blasters has the hugest fan base in India, Manyapada. What do you have to say about that? Like, can they make an impact on the team? Like, did they do something positive for the team? Back online, back online. We are back on online. Yeah.
I think the supporters of any club, if they are in big numbers, is always fantastic because a club with a huge fan base is that's what you play football for. There's nothing more beautiful to play in a full stadium with a lot of supporters. The opposite side of it is that if the connection between the club and the supporters, that means to explain to the supporters what the club is doing. If that is not well done, then you create certain pressure. Supporters being unhappy because the results are not good there, and you can see that. In the last 6 seasons, how many coaches Kerala had. So there is something there. I think the club should improve. But the supporters themselves, they are fantastic. But I also would tell them, try to educate yourself a little bit what football is. That means also not just think that you bring in a new coach, you just bring in a new player and everything will be fine. And every year you keep on hoping and nothing happens. Also the supporters have a role there to understand that football is a process.
Yes, sir. So what according to you should be done to promote football in India more? Like how can we improve our football? I mean generally, not in ISL. I mean generally for football, like getting to the national team, being in the state team, etc. Like how can all the kids here, or like all the people here, can improve their football in India, the standard of football in India?
Thing is, if you want to build a country, if you want to build anything, there needs to be on the grassroots, on the school level. If you want to have a very smart generation of people, then you start with the young people to give them good education. That's the same with football. If you want to grow football, you start on the grassroots. Kerala has huge backyards of football, but it's all unorganized. It's all based on street football. So if there could be somehow, and that has to do with money, a big part, is to organize leagues where clubs play against each other, so you have more club organized structures, then football really can grow. You cannot just put only one ISL and one I League and maybe one second division, and then things will be fine. You have to start much lower. Each club should have a good youth development system. And that's the only way to really grow football.
So, who do you hope to be the biggest star in the future, or like multiple people, like biggest stars in the future from India?
Really do hope that Sahal can grow into the star that everybody wants him to be, because look, he has something that supporters like, but in the end, football needs to be effective. So I really hope he can transform that what everyone expects from him, that he can transform that to the field. I really, from my heart, want him to succeed like that. If Indian players that I really like, as I said before, Borges is one of the players I like. You will next season, I think, Kerala signed Putia, who was last year with me also in Northeast, is one of those players that I think is a really good talent. From Goa, Brandon Fernandes, I really like this player. He's a good player, has a good creative quality. So basically, I would not choose just one or two or three. I just hope overall that the football in India keeps rising and becomes better, because that is, there's nothing more beautiful than football, I always say.
So, including Indians and foreign players, who is the one that impressed you most the last season? A young player.
Most? I think the best example is Jackson, but still make the next step. He got a lot of chance for playing, part because I gave him the chance, but also part because we didn't have many midfielders. The recruitment of the Indian players last season was done by the club, not by me, and we didn't have many midfielders at all. So that meant, and I'm talking more about the defensive midfield players. So he got a little bit more chance, and he actually did really well, but still has a long way to go to really grow. So that is one of the players that I think that stood out. I think before I signed with Kerala, I got a lot of emails that the right back position, Rakip, was criticized highly. They said we need a different right back. We need a different right back. I do think that Rakip made a lot of progression. Does that mean that I think he did it perfect or to the best? No, there's always room for improvement. But I think he made improvement. These are players and that I would pick out. As I said, I did my best. I wish I could have given more time to Samuel. 100%, but also Samuel is the same position as Sahal. They are attacking midfielders, and you cannot play with two of them or three of them, especially when you play with Bart and with Messi up front. Then it's even more difficult to fit them in. So you have to make choices as a coach.
Yes, sir. And so you are officially at Kerala Blasters, right? Where are you going next?
Looking for options. I'm looking into to hopefully I can go back to Europe. That's my first priority. In India, I don't think this season any club will look for me. That is what it is, and we'll see what the future will bring.
So you have coach Sandesh Jingan, right? And sorry, I think you have not. He was like having a big injury that time while you were coaching, right? Yeah, like he has been with Blasters for many years, and he has been the backbone of Kerala Blasters. Do you think he has the potential to be in the Europe's major leagues?
I say I hope so, but till now, not one Indian player has been proven to be able to play in European leagues, and that is not because they're not good enough. But if you go at an age of of 21, 22, 23, if you go to Europe, you're already very far behind. Maybe if you step into a league, I don't know, maybe Norway or whatever Eastern Europe countries, maybe have a little bit of chance. But if you have to step into a European league, on the highest league, I don't see that happen on that age. Maybe on a little bit lower level, that could be possible. And as I said, I really hope if you have a dream and you get the chance, take the chance and see how far you get. But you cannot, it's the same thing, you cannot just go from primary school to university. That's the same thing. So if you are an older age, if you're above 20 and you go to Europe and you want to play in European leagues, that you are so far behind on in your development from the other players. The only thing I want for Sandesh is that he gets the best possible team inside or outside India that makes him a better player. That's the only thing I can wish him. And follow.
And sir, being a coach yourself, what tips do you want to give to young coaches, like the new coaches, the upcoming ones?
Important thing is start coaching as much as you can with the youth, because working with youth is different than senior football. But you need to don't try to over organize or try to tell all the players every time what they have to do. Try to have an idea of how you want to play. Attacking football, more defensive football, that's up to you, but try to have an idea and then try to analyze how can I make players understand to become a better player. It's a process. There are not just specific things that I can tell you do this, do that. It's more of developing. It's the same way in life. You have an idea how you want to fill in your life, and along the way you will develop your own strategy, your own ideas on how to do things.
So, and so according to you, which is the best formation suited for Indian players? Is 4-2-3-1 balanced?
No, don't think in formation. It's all about the quality of the player first. So which quality does a player have, and then you choose a formation. We started the season with a 4-3-3, with Bart being the only striker. But because of the injuries, I had to change that because I wanted to keep playing with more foreigners. So I changed it to a 4-4-2 and use that in the same way to have an attacking playing style. So in both formations, I try to play an attacking playing style. But how to use a formation depends on the qualities that you have. So you don't choose a formation and then the players. Mostly, you choose players, you have already an idea of how you want to play, but it's more important first check the quality of the players and then make a formation. Choose a formation.
So this question, personally for me, was my favorite one, and this was not by me or my friends. Actually, this was from that YouTuber, one YouTuber, CV Football Speaking. You might have known him, I don't know, but he's a really good YouTuber, and I watch all of his videos, and he has less subscribers than what he deserves. So I thank him personally for that good question. And this is one of my questions. So what do you prefer? Changing formation every other game or sticking to one formation and improving it day by day?
Important thing is sticking to the same 11 players. So if you play many games with the same players, so the same 11 players, you have more chance of results. But you could, if you change the system, the formation, that is possible. But the more changes you make, the less chances you have on results. Because if you every day, let's say you go to school or to work, and you every day choose the same route, the same way you go to your work, it becomes quicker and faster in your understanding. If every day you change the route, you have to look, hey, wait, should I go left here? Should I go right? Maybe I lose more time. So the more changes you make, the less chance for results. So, and the formation and the same type of the same 11 players, if you can have that every game, you have more chance on results. The more changes, the less chances on result.
So if you are going yeah, you said that your first priority is European League, right? Some European teams. So if yeah, then would you like to take some players to there? Perhaps if you want to take someone like that, who would it be?
Yeah, that depends completely on the level where you play. If you let's say that you get a job in the highest level in Holland or in England or whatever, then yeah, there will not be many players from India that could live up to that level. But for me, the most important thing is that I'm always happy to get a new job and try to educate and help players to develop in football, and whatever level that will be, we will see. And yeah, even the club, you depend if a club maybe if I would like to bring a player with me, even the club has to agree on that. It's also important that the club and the coach together agree on bringing a player. So I don't think it's relevant to say I'm choosing this player or that player. I don't think that that has any use at this moment.
So and like in India, there are many talented players, and we don't have facilities. And do you think that people in Europe or footballers in Europe start at a very young age, and they get the training, the proper diet, the facilities, etc. And do you think that we can never compete with them if we don't have that facilities, or we could just rely on pure talent?
It's a very question. Um, I worked in Africa. I worked in Ghana, and this is maybe 20 years ago. 20 years ago, when the first African players, or maybe a little bit early, even start showing up in European leagues, people said one African country soon will be the world champion. We are 5 years later, till now, not one African country ever won the world champion. Why is that? Because the infrastructure of playing football is they have clubs and they have some fields, but it's not to a certain level that you really can grow. So there are a lot of good African players everywhere, but African countries itself never win the world championship. Some they reach maybe the semi-final incidentally, but till now, so over more than 20 years, they still didn't reach that. So for India to reach the World Cup and to win the World Cup is yeah, you're very far behind from that, but that doesn't mean that you should not try and you should not try to improve. That's one of the reasons also why I do a lot of interviews and just try to help, try to make people understand whatever you can help for football, you try to do. So for India really to grow, they still need to make some steps to improve. The talent is there for sure, that is in any country, but the infrastructure still needs to be better in order to really grow or to really catch up with other countries.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for talking with me and having this time, for sparing this time with us. It's been a real privilege, and it's my first live session. And thank you so much, sir. You'll never forget this one. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Bye.